Hey, everybody, how you doing? Woo! Welcome to PHLY Flyers post-game presented by Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me live in the Xfinity Mobile studio, it is Philly's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. This team...
I told you.
...is simply the most ridiculous team maybe in any sport. Like, I guess there's like just stupid, like the Browns or the Jets, where it's like, I don't know, man, you're just like lost in Neverland here. But like, Flyers play their 24th overtime game of the season tonight, and tomorrow, Chuck. Just a little preview. 10:30 puck drop against the Kings. The Kings are one of two teams that have played more overtime games than the Flyers have. So that's a lot of fun. Before we get into anything else that happened in tonight's ridiculous game here in the PHLY Flyers postgame, you're a man of math and percentages. How absolutely positive were you that goal was going to be ruled offside and we were going to restart?
No, I actually didn't think it was going to get called back because it was too. It might have been offside, but there was just no conclusive evidence. There's no way that you could possibly have justified calling that goal back, given the fact that you really could barely even tell where the puck was. It was a weird play. No, I mean, if they would have called that back, it would have been purely to make everyone miserable. But there was no actual evidence that led me to believe that was going to get called back. So I was pretty sure it was going to stand.
That official's big dramatic pause was outstanding, honestly.
Yeah, you love a good troll. I know you do.
He should teach a class, honestly. I just come on, let's get a little excitement here. Let's build the tension. You need good tense moments. It's all about those in the entertainment industry. Charlie, come on. And he gave it to us, but I had filled out Notion once already. That's where we put in like the headline and show description and stuff, and had to totally delete it after the Ducks tied it. And then I had already started, and it's like, yo, this is going to review. I know I'm going to have to do this for a third time. I am positive that is what is going to happen. But the Flyers win 3-2 in Anaheim. They are 4-0 in the Cutter Gauthier era. We will talk about him a little bit later. The stats and fun facts about the game, Charlie. The Flyers score the first goal for the 22nd time through 67 games. They have 76 points now, as I see you've added here, and that ties with what they finished with last season with, was that 15 games to go? So
yeah, 15 games left.
If the goal was to improve, they have. That's just results-based business. They have improved on last year.
I guess theoretically they could lose all 15 of their final games in regulation, and then they will not have improved. But almost certainly they are going to finish with a better points percentage, record, whatever you want to call it, than they did last year. So they are going to achieve that goal at the very least, the goal of at least incremental improvement.
The Flyers put up double-digit shots in the first period, and I was tracking this a couple games ago. I couldn't find all the stats I'd put together, and I wasn't going through all the month's box scores, but I am pretty sure this is only like the second or third time in the month of March they have had a double-digit shot period. In case you were maybe thinking we were exaggerating about how bad the Ducks are defensively, the shots and chances the Flyers had, to me, yes, they blow the lead, and we'll talk plenty about that. Play the whole third period in your zone. That's probably what's going to happen. Doesn't matter how good your goalie is or how good you are defensively. Probably going to score if they have the puck the whole third. But the shots and chances the Flyers had, to me, the story is like, take advantage of some of your chances. 0 for 6 on the power play. Michkov on the goal step a couple of times tonight. Owen Tippett hits the post on a breakaway. Like, I feel like it shouldn't have been within reach, or at least there should have been much more of a cushion in the third period.
I totally agree with that. And the numbers, William, back you up. the Flyers in this game, and again, we talked about this in the pregame, that the Ducks are a very loose defensive team. That's part and parcel of a developing squad that is coached by Joel Quenneville. Joel Quenneville coaches a wide open trade chances type of style where, yeah, you guys are going to get your points, but also we're going to give up a lot of goals unless our goaltender stands on his head. The Flyers finished this game with a whopping 29 high danger chances, which is their highest total of the season by 6. So looking at the all situations expected goals, they finished with 6.03. So 6 expected goals in this game. Flyers only score 3 goals. So yes, the Flyers were all over the ice in terms of creating chances, in terms of generating quality shots. They could have done a much better job of finishing on those chances. And had they done a better job of finishing on those chances, this game probably doesn't go into overtime. But they are the Flyers. They struggle to finish. And then, as you mentioned, in the third period, it did seem like they went into kill the game mode, protect the lead, rather than try to create offense. As a result, they end up allowing the game tying goal. Then immediately after that, they go back to trying again, and they almost score like 3 times in the final minute and a half, which would show you like, hey, maybe if you'd done that the entire third period, you would have been in this situation in the first place. But the reality of the situation is they did generate a ton of high quality chances. At least by natural stat tricks metric, it was the most high quality chances they generated all season long. And it speaks to, number one, the Flyers doing a good job of creating chances in this game, but also Anaheim's defensive weakness, which is well stated and well recorded across anybody who watches and follows the Ducks.
So, Charlie, through 40 minutes tonight, I tweeted this out on the PHLY Flyers account at second intermission. The Flyers have 22 shots on goal through 40 minutes. In the first 66 games of the season, they put up 22 or fewer shots for the game 29 times. 10 of those, as tonight did, but 10 of those 29 went beyond regulation. So 60 to 65 minutes, 22 shots. It took them 40 tonight to get to that total. I will say, on one hand, I was like, all right, we're trading chances. The shot totals are high on both sides, especially when you consider like it's the Flyers. The shot totals are usually like 30 at the end of the game for both teams combined. 40. Yeah. I was like, okay, so you kind of got drug into their style of game. But at the same time, through 40 minutes, the Flyers looked like the much better team. Like, I do think, like, if they take advantage of a couple of those chances, and that leads me to my first point about that third period, man, you're just better when you're trying to score. And no matter how good you are defensively, no matter how much structure you have, if you're in the D zone, you're going to give something up because that's just what happens. The league is too good. These players are too freaking good to just be denied for 20 whole minutes. And they just looked like a much better team when they were attacking tonight. Like you said, even in that final minute, once they give up the lead, once it's tied again, they had 2 or 3 scoring chances.
Yeah.
Like, they were just better when they were attacking tonight. And yes, it is a leaky defensive team, so it's just going to make you look better that, hey, we just ran 2 give and goes and they both worked. That's like that's like a week for this team, and it's like on one shift. I get it, but man, maybe it's just because I want to watch more of that style of hockey, but going into that shell in the third, it's a Western Conference game. Giving up the other point doesn't matter, but they just looked like a better team when they were trying to score tonight.
Yeah, no, they 100% did. And it really was just the third period. And look, I don't know how much of this is Rick. I feel like it's Groundhog's Day. We're basically just repeating the same debates we had with Dave Haxtell, where it's like, I don't know if Dave Haxtell is specifically telling them to turtle, or if this is just a natural byproduct of playing this style and you just immediately fall back into, well, we're just trying to protect the lead and win the game 2-1 because that's our identity, is trying to win close games. But it's a bad idea. Like, they should have tried to open it up more in the third period because they were playing perfectly fine hockey opening up in the first 2 periods. You do wonder, though, how much that late goal at the end of the second period messed with their heads. Because if they go into the third period up 2-0 and feeling good about everything, about the way those first 2 periods went, maybe they come out in the third period and they play more of a wide open game. But once you give up that late goal, and that goal it's mostly on Ristolainen. Obviously, he has a complete and total mental brain fart in the corner, just stops trying. That said, and we'll get into Michkov later in the show, I'm sure, he had a rough game, and that was a bad penalty to take. Like, they end up in that position and not on the power play because Michkov takes a dumb penalty. But more on Risto, because like your job is to be the big physical guy who wins battles in the corners, and then you just kind of dog it and give Gauthier a wide open shot to the net. But because they allow that goal, suddenly it's 2-1. Suddenly, Anaheim's down only 1 goal. They go into the locker room, go into intermission feeling good, and then they come out of that intermission feeling really good, and they just kind of it's like a snowball rolling down a mountain. Like, it's just picking up speed. It's becoming an avalanche. That's what that third period felt like. Flyers need to do a better job of halting that. And they should not have fallen into we can win this game 2-1 because it's Anaheim. They score a ton of goals. Can't expect to win a game like that. But I do wonder if that late goal had an impact on their psyche going into the third period and made it more likely that they were going to try to just hold down the fort and try to win 2-1 or 3-1 with an empty net goal.
Yeah, that first, Michkov, again, I have no evidence, don't know how to figure this out, but the Flyers they simply must lead the league in negating their own power plays by taking penalties on the power play. And Michkov, that's a tough one because I know that the power play is no good. They typically don't score. They don't score at a very high rate on the power play. But if you can go up 3-0 there, it's a totally different game. Now you put the Ducks on the power play, and it's a potential 2-goal swing. Also, you mentioned Rasmus Ristolainen. I get that, Mintyukov isn't small, but that was not a bone-crunching hit.
No, it was not. It was a shove.
He shoved him a little bit.
Yeah.
And Rasmus Ristolainen needs to be able to absorb that contact, pin the puck against the boards with his skate if he has to, literally do anything but what you did. If you picked it up and threw it down the ice, it would be better than whatever the hell you did there. But they survive, they win the game, but they give up that power play goal late to, of course, Cutter Gauthier, who we will again talk about later in the show. It was just a very unfortunate turn of events there. Started with a bad penalty by Mish and then a bad play by Rasmus Ristolainen. But before we go to our first break, let's get to tonight's game changer, driven by Elkin Chevrolet. Elkin Chevy, together, let's drive. Had to call an audible on this one, Chuck. It was going to be Owen Tippett. We'll talk about him after the break. But Noah Cates, if for no other reason, yes, he scores the game winner, but also, you see, good face-off numbers tonight, couple shots on goal. I thought he made a few good plays throughout the game. He completely makes up for somehow Michkov not netting that goal mount opportunity for the second time in the game where he just somehow doesn't freaking score. That was a clutch fix of an accident there by Noah Cates to win this game in OT.
Yeah, it was. And we've talked about this on the last couple shows that Noah Cates has been, a low-key standout since they've returned from the Olympic break. He's scoring again. He's showing he can score even without Tyson Forster, which had been a question given his, total slump that started in January and lasted all the way through the end of the Olympic, the end of the run of games before the Olympic break. He's scoring again. He's producing. And it's not like he ever stopped being Noah Cates. He was still doing all the little things that make him Noah Cates during his run of not scoring. But you have to at least score a little bit. You have to produce some offense if you're going to be in the top 9. Like if he was playing as the 11th or 12th forward, then it's whatever. Okay. As long as you're playing good defense and drive and play, then it's fine. You don't need to score much. But when you're getting like the 6th, 7th, 8th most minutes on a nightly basis among the forward core, you have to produce some offense. He was not doing that for a while. He's back to doing that now. Now going to the play, look, it's not a high skill play. It's a fluky-ish goal, but it is an intelligent goal. It's a heads-up play because Michkov obviously misses what looks like a slam dunk opportunity. Cates gets the puck back, and rather than try to dipsy-doodle around and do a wraparound or something, he just sees, hey, guess what? Goalie's not in great position. Why don't I just try to toss it back out front and bank it off him, and it works? Like, that is not a, that's not a Michigan. That's not a wraparound. That's not a, looking out for a beautiful pass. That's a, hey, I think I have an opportunity here. I'm just going to toss it out there and see what happens. And it worked. And it's a very Noah Cates goal, I guess is what I'm getting at. It's the type of goal you expect, a heady, smart player like Cates to score. And he did it at a really key moment and wins the Flyers the game as a result.
Just a good Minnesota boy, mucking it and grinding it. That's how they do it up there in the state of hockey, Charlie. All right, on the other side, we're going to talk Owen Tippett. We're going to talk Trevor Zegras, Dan Vladar. Whole lot still to come in tonight's postgame show. You just got to stay tuned through this next 2 minutes. What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi? And what if you could keep your Wi-Fi at the same price for 5 years? Well, that's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together. Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense. And Wi-Fi that lets you stream the game even when the whole family's already online. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And the best part, there's no annual contracts, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment is, of course, included. Take it from me, a lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi, it should stay reliable, and the price should stay put. Lock your price in and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only, restrictions apply, and as always, let's go Flyers! Whether your favorite team wins or not, there's always another way to win on the BetParx online casino app. You gotta check out brand new games like Huff and More Puff and Fireblaze Sky Queen, which is a BetParx exclusive. You can play blackjack, you can play roulette, you can play craps, poker, baccarat, and hot online slots like Cash Eruption and 88 Fortunes. Play all your favorite classic casino games from wherever you are, and new users get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. You can play hot online slots based on your favorite streaming shows like The Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, Peaky Blinders, and all your favorite classic casino games from wherever you are. It's the only app I ever use to play all my favorite casino games right in the palm of my hand. Go to BetParx.com and download the app right now and enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. You must be 21 and in PA, Jersey, Maryland, or Michigan for BetParx. You love to play. You play to win. You bet. BetParx. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome back. I see there's almost 350 people watching us live right now as it is 1:15 here on the East Coast. That is absolutely awesome. We really appreciate it. We'd love it even more if you hit that like button. That would be awesome. All right, it's time to talk a little Owen Tippett, Charlie. And I have been riding that Owen Tippett train tonight, or really over the last few weeks. I thought he played another solid game. He scores the goal in the second period to put the Flyers up 2-0, and that is coming back after he hits the post on that breakaway late in the first, and then takes his frustrations out on Jackson Lacombe with a big hit along the Anaheim bench. He had 5 shots on goal, 3 hits on the night, and something I really appreciate here from Owen Tippett: 5 shots on goal. The Flyers had 25 misses in the game, which I believe Jim Jackson said was their high for the season. You know how many were Owen Tippett's? I bet you do. 1. 6 attempts. 5 shots on 6 attempts. It's one of the big knocks on Owen Tippett, and tonight, not only was he effective in scoring, but he was able to get the pucks on the net. His miss, it's a post on a breakaway on what was a really nice play.
Yeah, you're right. That was the only miss. It was that post on the breakaway. And then he follows that up by absolutely blowing up Jackson Lacombe. I thought Owen Tippett was fantastic in this game again. And I was intrigued to see how he was going to do. Because if you remember, obviously he has those 2 huge games. One right after another. He's awesome. He's awesome. Then on Saturday, he was there. He was okay. It wasn't awful. I don't think I watched him and think like, oh man, he just don't got it. But he didn't follow up those 2 great games with a 3rd great game. Well, now he has this game, and suddenly we're talking about, hey, 3 out of the last 4 games, he's been awesome. He's been top tier Owen Tippett. Maybe we are in the midst of a little bit of a level up for Owen Tippett, that it's not just a 1 game or 2 game hot streak, that maybe something might be clicking for him. Because I thought tonight, yeah, he scores the goal, but he was impactful all around. He was using that speed. He was generating chances. He was generating shots off the rush. He was, creating rushes out of essentially nothing. Nearly scores, on that backhand off the post. He's being physical. Owen Tippett to me was spoiler alert, I think he was the best player for the Flyers in this game.
Yeah, he was just. It's what we always ask for from him. Listen, if he could score on all of his chances and take advantage of all the rushes he gets, then he would be Connor McDavid. He would score 50 goals a year and we'd be paying him $20 million. But that's not who he is. He is a really good second line winger who in his hot streaks can take over. And my ask of him has been, when you're not on, your 6 goals in 5 game little stretch, be noticeable. Do stuff that makes the players around you better. That is what I have hoped from Owen Tippett. Now, he is in an odd spot where a lot of the rest of the team can't keep up with him. So it does seem a little difficult for him to sometimes make his teammates better, but he just makes stuff out of nothing a lot for this team, and scored his 23rd of the season tonight. He is already well ahead of what he did last year, scoring 20 goals, and looks to be on his way to another 25, 27, 29 goal season, which is kind of where we need him to be. If he could become that 30 to 35 guy, that would be great. I don't know if he ever can be consistent enough, but this year is telling me there is more. There is more to him. There's more inside than, yeah, he's toolsy and he'll score you 25. I do think he's showing that he can be a valuable part of a good team.
Yeah, and we'll see if over the long term, if Owen Tippett stays on the Flyers. I mean, it's very clear the Flyers want to make trades. He is a potential trade chip. He has a lot of value because he is a unique player. There aren't many players that have his size and speed combination. So the Flyers might be able to use him to address that glaring, gaping hole they have at center. But it's interesting with Tippett. I was thinking about this today because I'm working on a piece on the Flyers offense. Hopefully it'll be out sometime tomorrow. I basically got the whole piece done between the hours of 4 and 9:30, but I didn't have a chance to edit it and then put all the pictures and then do all the tagging things we have to do with PHLY. So I wasn't able to get it out before the game. Hopefully I'll get it out some point tomorrow after I get done doing my write-up on this game, which I'll do in the morning. But what I'm getting at is, in that article, I talk about what Tocchet wants the Flyers to do from an offensive system standpoint. And I talk about how, yeah, in theory, a lot of the guys they have, either developing and coming or young players that are going to be part of this long term, they do theoretically fit with what Tocchet wants out of an offensive zone system. Owen Tippett's the one guy where you're like, I don't know if he fits, but he's so singularly dominant when he's on that when he's doing this, it almost doesn't matter. I talk about, you're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. When he's playing this well, you just keep pushing that square peg into the round hole until the corners break off and then you fit him through because he's that good. It's just yeah, maybe he doesn't have the high-end offensive IQ to find soft spots in the zone and move himself into high danger areas to make himself a target for passes. Maybe he will never have that. But you know what he can do? He can just create chances out of nothing because he's just bigger and faster and stronger than everybody else on the ice. And that guy is hard to trade away. Even if maybe he's not the perfect fit for what this coach wants them to do, and maybe he would be a better fit. One thing I was thinking tonight, hell, man, imagine Owen Tippett on this Ducks team.
No.
That's a scary thought because this Ducks team just trades chances and goes up and down the ice. Imagine him playing for them. He might be a 40-goal scorer on the Ducks because his style is so perfect for the fast-paced, high-octane Joel Quenneville style. But if he's playing the way he's played in 3 out of the last 4 games, it doesn't matter whether he's the best fit for a system. The system adjusts to accommodate this version of Owen Tippett, not the other way around.
And in a game like tonight, where you are trading chances, you get drug into more their style of a game. It is much more of a back and forth sort of game than it is a hey, dump the puck in, let's establish a forecheck. Now, that is how the Glendening goal was scored, but like for the most part, this is a pretty wide open game. It's nice to be able to match that with something, and it makes you a little harder to defend if 3 of your lines play one way, and then when Owen Tippett's on the ice, it's a little different because we have a guy who's a little different stylistically. I'm not advocating him, oh, he's untouchable. Just saying what he is so different from everything else they have. It does give me pause on potentially trading him. Now, if they can make the team better at one of those positions in need, specifically center, you have to do it. You just have to. I don't know how else they'll be able to address it. But I can't believe, and I keep saying this, I'm to the point of, does it have to be Tippett though? But it's going to have to be somebody.
Yeah.
And the way Tippett's playing, like, you got to believe teams are looking like, yeah, we'd take this guy for our 2C. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, well, like the one thing I think of it, and every time I hear Briere or Jones or somebody say this about Ristolainen, I roll my eyes, because one thing they've said a bunch of times is like, well, if you trade Rasmus Ristolainen, the next thing you're going to be looking to do is go trade for another guy like Rasmus Ristolainen. I'm like, are you really? Do you really need to? Is it really that important to have the big physical number 4, number 5 defenseman, especially when you got guys like Hunter McDonald and Ty Murchison who can just be the big physical number 6 defenseman? Like, no, I don't think I personally, once I trade Rasmus Ristolainen, I'm not desperately trying to find another Rasmus Ristolainen. However, if I trade Owen Tippett, yes, in a week, I'm thinking to myself, man, you know what this team really needs? Dynamic speed on the wing, because suddenly they become a really slow team on the wing. Now, again, not saying that would stop me from trading Owen Tippett in the right deal, but it is saying that the minute they trade Owen Tippett, I'm going to be like, man, you know what they need? An Owen Tippett.
I can't believe where we are with Owen Tippett, but hey, man, some players are up to the challenge, some aren't, and it's pretty cool that he's having a season where he stands out when it's like he's clearly not a fit for what they're trying to do, but he's still the most noticeable guy out there.
Yeah.
All right, I want to talk about Dan Vladar, Charlie. I thought it was quite a game there for Dan Vladar. Allows 2 goals. He gives up that rebound for the game tire late in the third, but stops 34 of 36 or 33 of 35. I've seen 2 different box scores. Don't know if he had a 943 or a 944. We will ignore that. But regardless, his save percentage for the season jumps to 907 with either of those totals. And he sets a new season high in saves with either 33 or 34. I've seen both. His season high coming into tonight was 32. He'd done that 4 times. The last one was at the very end of December. I thought he was tremendous, like midway through the third. He was tested right away with the cutter breakaway in the first 30 seconds, and then there's 2 or 3 whacks at it afterwards, where he's able to, looked like he was getting pushed back into the net on the last one. He's still able to hold his ground there. I know it seemed like you were hinting that Tippett might come in prominently in stars, but I thought Dan Vladar is just as or close to as deserving.
Yeah, Vladar is going to be in the 3 stars as well. But yeah, he was great. He was great. He was really good. I didn't think it was his best game, but I thought he was very good. I guess that's the way to put it. Like, would have liked to save, would have liked a better play on that game tying goal. And for all the shots that the Ducks took, I didn't think a lot of them were great shots. There were good ones, don't get me wrong, but I thought a lot of them were muffins. But Vladar still had to face a lot of shots. He certainly had to face some high quality shots. And one thing about the Ducks too is that, and they mentioned this on the broadcast, they do have a lot of high end young skill. Obviously there's Cutter Gauthier, but I mean, Leo Carlson, that dude's scary, man. I mean, he scores the game tying goal.
Everywhere.
He's everywhere. He's making plays. He's making moves. He's got the speed. He's got the size. He's a scary player. Beckett Seneca wasn't great in this game, but he's a high skill young player. They got high skill young guys on the back end. So there are shots, like Gauthier being a classic example. There are shots where if any other player in the league took a shot from that spot, you'd be like, that's an easy save. But because Gauthier is the guy who's taking a shot from that spot, it's tricky because he's got a really good shot and he's got a nose for the net and he knows how to disguise his angles and his releases and things like that. And Vladar was more than up to the task most of this game. Really, really strong performance from Vladar. I guess where I come from, it's like, to me, despite what the stats may say, to me, this was more of like, this is just a normal, really good Vladar start. It wasn't a, holy crap, Vladar was unreal start. And that's what puts him a little bit behind Owen Tippett for me.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of high leverage moments, especially in the third. There's a few power plays, but their power play really didn't, other than like one cutter coming downhill, gets across ice, and then shoots wide. Like, I didn't think they had a ton of grade A's on the power play. But just overall, with the high leverage nature of it being, a 1-goal game for the entire third period, I thought he was really solid in there. But we got to talk now, Charlie. You know what? We'll do it after the breaks. I want to give it the full time it deserves, because this man is absolutely deserving of the honor about to be bestowed upon him. On the other side, we're talking unsung hero, baby. Make sure you stay tuned through that. You just got to get through this break. Have you ever had one of those days where you're moving nonstop and suddenly you realize you forgot to eat? Believe it or not, it's happened to me, and that's why I've been loving what Wawa is doing right now. Wawa now has $5 deals all day, and honestly, it just makes life that much easier. If you're starting early, you can grab the $5 big breakfast meal deal. We're talking a sizzly, we're talking a hash brown, and any size hot or iced coffee. That's a full morning win for $5, available from 5 to 11 a.m. Then later in the day, the value keeps rolling with a roasted chicken sandwich or crispy chicken sandwich created your way starting at $5. And they've even got new teriyaki recipes for a limited time. It's real food, real value, and built for busy days. No planning, no overthinking. Just swing in, grab what you need, and keep it moving. Start your day strong and fuel up whatever you need with Wawa's $5 deals. Limited time, exclusions apply. See Wawa.com for details. Gotta have a Wawa. It's time to channel the fresh start energy of spring and finally launch your business with Shopify. 2026 is the year you rewrite your story, own your future, and make your entrepreneurial dreams come true. Start your business with Shopify in 2026 and become who you're meant to be. Shopify gives you everything you need to sell online and in person. Millions of entrepreneurs have already made this leap, from household names to first-time business owners just getting started. Shopify gives you all the tools to easily build your dream store. Choose from hundreds of beautiful templates that you can customize to match your brand. Marketing is built in too. You can create email and social campaigns that reach customers wherever it is they scroll. In 2026, stop waiting and start selling with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/allcity. Go to shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/allcity. Hear your first this new year with Shopify by your side. All right, welcome back. It's time for the Unsung Hero, presented by Togo. Togo, the leader in operations outsourcing. Let Togo handle the work that gets in the way of your work. You call the plays, we execute. Togo. Charlie, it has to be tonight our man, the star of the pregame show, Luke Glendening. And that fourth line, Glendening puts the Flyers up 1-0 in the first period with his first goal since February 23rd, 2025. It is his first of this season, his first in more than a calendar year. Had 4 total shots. The fourth line played a decent amount tonight. Glendening got 14 minutes. He had a few scoring chances, honestly, throughout the night. He looked like he was really feeling it. Almost had a chance late in the game to untie it and win it in regulation. What did you think of Glendening in this his move to center?
William, I'm shocked that I'm saying this. Not because I hate Luke Glendening, but because, look, the guy was claimed on waivers. You're not expecting Luke Glendening to be anything more than just a guy you can plug in on the fourth line. He gives you passable enough minutes for the rest of the year, and then you wave goodbye to him at the end of the season. So I never expected to be saying this. Luke Glendening tonight was fantastic. He had a great game. He had a really, really good all-around game. it's one thing that he scores a goal, because look, everybody scores a goal at some point in the NHL. Nick Delorier scores goals. Sean Couturier, and he's even playing his worst. Like he scored a couple goals since the Olympic break. Guys, Garnet Hathaway has a goal this year. Guys are going to score a goal just by being around the net. Puck's going to bounce to you, and you're going to score. It's not even the fact that he scored. He was everywhere. Like he was making plays. He was making defensive plays. He was on the attacking on the rush. He was around pucks. He has one really, really. I mean, it ends up getting forgotten because they end up taking another icing after he gets off the ice, and then they give up the game tying goal. He has a really big face-off win after they take an icing late in the third period. Like one of those, like, oh man, you got to win this one because the boys are gassed, and he goes out there and wins it, and they get a clear. Glendening in this game made a lot of really, really good plays. And it was the whole fourth line. Like Garnet Hathaway had some good plays. Sean Couturier, I thought, had one of his strongest games in weeks, to be honest.
Coots really did make some plays tonight.
Maybe
I don't think
months.
he gets rewarded on any of them, but he set up some chances tonight. He had a few shots. I did think Coots actually played well.
Yeah, but Glendening was the most noticeable of the trio, and they all played well. I never thought that I would be giving Luke Glendening. Like, I didn't expect to hate Luke Glendening, but I wasn't expecting for Luke Glendening to be, in my mind, one of the standouts of a Flyers win during what I expect is going to be a very short tenure as a Philadelphia Flyer. But he was legitimately one of the standouts in this game. Well done, Luke Glendening.
Charlie, they claimed a guy on waivers on deadline day who had 0 goals on the season. He now turns 37 in 10 days. We have said Luke Glendening's name more in the last 4 minutes than I expected to since they claimed him on waivers, quite honestly. It was a surprisingly impressive game. What did the fancy stats say about that fourth line? Because I thought they were pretty good tonight. They had a couple of shifts where they got buried, but I thought they spent a decent amount of time on offense, and maybe this is going to be a more regular trio.
Well, based on the numbers and based on my eye test, it certainly should be. In terms of expected goals for percentage, the line of Sean Couturier, Luke Glendening, and Garnet Hathaway, they collected 92.5% of the expected goals, a dominant performance by the new look Glendening line with Sean Couturier largely on the wing. But yeah, they won in all the numbers. They win the shot attempts battle. They get 11. They allow 6. They win the shots on goal battle 5-2. They win the scoring chance battle 7-1. Yeah, they were the Flyers, I would say, most consistently effective line. And it was one of those games where, I know we've in the past criticized Rick Tocchet for using the fourth line late in games. I had zero issue with seeing them on the ice late in this game because they were great all game. They earned the right. They deserved it.
When someone's going, they're going.
Yeah.
You give the guy their ice time if they earned it, and I do believe, against all odds, the fourth line tonight, centered by Luke Glendening, we'll say it one more time, absolutely earned it tonight. It is now 1:34 a.m. on Thursday morning, so you know what that means, Charlie? It means we're celebrating Wawa Wednesday. It's time for the Wawa Big Deal. You can get $5 days all day at Wawa, beginning with the Big Breakfast Meal Deal, any coffee, any breakfast sizzly, and a hash brown for just $5. The big deal I want to talk about is it's Cutter Gauthier. First of all, shout out Flyers fans. Your boos in the Honda Center louder than the boos for Trevor Zegras from the home crowd. It really seemed like the home crowd was half-hearted in their effort of booing a guy who never asked to be traded. He was just like, I'm getting traded.
They wanted to trade him. It was not Trevor Zegras that wanted to be traded. Trevor Zegras wanted to be part of the long-term core and the future of the Anaheim Ducks. It was Pat Verbeek who did not want Trevor Zegras to be part of the long-term future of the Anaheim Ducks.
But Cutter Gauthier, I want to talk about. Denied on a breakaway right away. You could see he was like, okay, this guy's going to be an issue tonight because he clearly has the skating legs, came into the game with 34 goals, now has 35 on the season with his power play goal. He scored late in the second tonight, played 18 and a half minutes, had 7 shots on goal, did score. He ripped one wide, like I said, on the Ducks' first period power play. ripped one just wide as he like gets the puck with momentum going towards the net. Very dangerous chance. There's that Risto turnover, leads to his goal. But here's what I was thinking about Cutter Gauthier, and it was a conversation we had half during our episode of the Shootout talking about Jet Luchenko, and like half in the elevator on the way down after the show. So we're just talking about like the Flyers scouting department and Brent Flair and some of the flack that they take for the lack of star level players currently here on the Philadelphia Flyers. And you know what sucks about the Gauthier situation, other than like we don't have him and he's real good? The talk about the scouting department, like they needed a big win. And listen, Michkov, I think it's all going to work out. Sophomore slump, sure. But, you know, he kind of fell to them. It was obvious. Martone, that seems like it was very much on the board, like very much in line with what everyone was thinking. Cutter at 5 was kind of a question. It seemed like that might be a little early, and they absolutely freaking got it right. And they don't have like the evidence of their correctness to show for it. And I feel like that sucks for like Brent Flair in the scouting department. Like, yeah, he's over there scoring 35. Like he's going to get to 40 this season. But like he's 3,000 miles away. We don't get to take the credit for being right about something that we were actually right about.
No, they were definitely right from a talent evaluation standpoint. They were correct. This guy was really good. And I mean, if you remember the, that draft, there's a lot of guys in that draft that were taken early that ended up, maybe not being busts. I don't want to paint a guy with the bust brush quite yet, but like Nemec was the second overall pick, went to the Devils. He hasn't developed the way they've wanted him to. Shane Wright might get traded this summer because Seattle decided they don't think he's that good. David Jiricek, Flyers have him because he's been traded twice because his development has stagnated. Like
goal and 2 assists tonight for the fans.
Yeah. He's scoring points in the AHL. Hopefully the Flyers can rehabilitate him the same way they did with Jamie Drysdale. But point being is that he's ways away from being as impactful at the NHL level as Cutter Gauthier. Like there's a case that Cutter Gauthier is one of the 2 or 3 best players in that draft class, and the Flyers picked a guy at 5 that a lot of people, myself included, thought maybe reached a little bit at 5. The one thing you have to say, though, about that is while they certainly nailed the talent evaluation, maybe you're hoping that in their background research on him, the human being, maybe you pick up on some of the red flags that would lead him to tell a team, 12 months earlier that he's on board with being a Philadelphia Flyer and then change his mind 12 months later. That's the only negative aspect because digging into the character elements, that's part of it too. But they absolutely nailed the talent elements. This kid can play.
He absolutely can. Real quick before the break, want to hit on Matvei Michkov, Charlie. First period power play, misses an open net, slam dunk. It might have hit John Carlson's skate in the crease, but still, like it shouldn't even got there. He should have wrapped it around the freaking post, put it in, no questions asked. He gets into it with Mintyukov in the first, and it was pretty funny. Pavel drops the gloves and Matvei skates away laughing. They both get minor penalties. It was only going to be Michkov who got the penalty, but because Mintyukov dropped the gloves, okay. He takes that penalty for holding the stick. Cutter scores on that power play. He somehow doesn't score the game-winning goal on the 2-on-1 with Cates, but luckily Cates is able to get over and make up for the flub. What the hell did you think of Matvei tonight?
Yeah, I thought this was a rough game. Now he gets the assist on the game winner, so he comes away with with a decent enough stat line. But yeah, I mean he misses on 2 open nets. That's rough. He takes a bad penalty. I saw some people defending the penalty. He held the guy's stick. Maybe it doesn't get called if the stick doesn't break, but he held his stick. It was glaring. Like that's a penalty by the book. And maybe it's a little unlucky that he gets caught. But you know how you ensure that you don't take a penalty in that situation? Don't ever put yourself in position for the stick to break by holding a guy's stick, which is an illegal play on its face. Yeah, this was a rough game from Michkov, I thought. He obviously, again, he is involved with the game-winning goal, so he gets that. He's able to kind of, feel good about the way the game ended for him, even if it also included him missing on an open net. But this was a rough game for Michkov, I would say. I didn't like his game.
I guess Considering there were maybe some checks against him in the game, credit to Tocchet for putting him out in OT. I don't know. I mean, like, he should just get out in OT because he's real good at overtime.
Yeah.
But, like, we're grading on a curve here because Tocchet clearly has some sort of issue with Matvei Michkov. Like, I don't think it's going to be like a hanging offense and there's ever going to be a it's me or him situation. But, like, clearly there's something, and he puts him out there anyway, so at least we can say that happened. And he does get the assist, so he's in on the winning play.
Exactly.
All right, on the other side, we're going to get to this Mason McTavish thing I want to talk about. We're going to take all your super chats. Charlie will have his 3 stars. Stay tuned through this final break. March can only mean one thing, that it's go time for the playoff push. And at Elkins Chevrolet, it's go time for real deals. It's 3 brothers making one promise: treat you like family and give you a deal that makes sense. Trucks, oh, they've got them. SUVs, they've got those too. And payments that keep you in the game, absolutely. It's Chevy Truck Month, and tax refunds are starting to hit. That means it's a great time for Flyers fans to check out a new Chevy truck at Elkins. Get up to $7,360 in bonus cash on a new Silverado 1500. Contact Elkins Chevrolet today to see if you qualify for additional offers. If you're thinking about making a move, make it to Elkins Chevrolet on Route 73 in Marlton. Elkins Chevrolet, real brothers, real deals, and a whole lot of honkin' good service. Together, let's drive, and together, let's go Flyers. At Bet365, they know the only thing better than winning bets with your own money is winning bets with theirs, and there's never been a better time to do it than right now. Thanks to their Bet $10, get $365 promo available to every single new Bet365 user. All you have to do, sign up, make a $10 bet, and win or lose, you'll be given $365 in bonus bets, because it never hurts to have a little extra cheese or bread or onions. And now, Philly fans, thanks to Bet365's early payout offer, leaving early has never been safer. If the team you're riding goes up 10 at any point in the game, Bet365 will pay you out right there on the spot. Bet365, where winning is everything. Download the app today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Please gamble responsibly. Must be present in PA. $10 minimum deposit required. Bonus bet wager excluded from returns. New customer only. 21 plus. Time limits, minimum odds, and T's and C's apply. In-app only. Void where prohibited. Welcome back. Now, Charlie, I hinted at this in pregame, and it looks like we're going to have time to get to it. So I'm looking forward to it. Mason McTavish has been a healthy scratch a few times lately. He was not in the lineup for the Anaheim Ducks tonight. He had a contentious contract negotiation with Pat Verbeek last summer. Could the Flyers take advantage of yet another failed relationship in Anaheim and trade for the 6'1", 219-pound center, Mason McTavish? Do you think there could be some interest there?
Well, I mean, look, there's a track record. These 2 teams have made these kinds of trades before, and there's a track record from Pat Verbeek's standpoint of when he gets into contentious contract negotiations with a guy, it tends to eventually end with Pat Verbeek giving up on the guy and trading him, often for a price that is not as high as you would think, particularly in the zegras case. So I certainly can't rule out the possibility. The Flyers need center help. He's a center, and they've done trades with this team before, similar trades, in fact. I just personally don't particularly care for Mason McTavish. I don't think he's very good. He is really, really bad defensively. He's also not a good skater. I've watched him a bunch. I just never have come away terribly impressed with him. Like, he's got a good shot, but he doesn't use it as well as I think he should. He plays a gritty game, which is cool. And I think that part of his style would probably be well liked by Flyers fans. I just don't watch him and see a super high upside guy personally. So I am not a fan of Mason McTavish. I gather that a lot of other people are, and he certainly, he fills that weakness at center, I guess, in theory. But to me, like I would rather get a center who can skate. Like that, like to me, filling the center hole isn't just like getting whatever hot name at center is out there. I want a center who can push the pace because that's what the center core in my mind is lacking the most. And I don't see in McTavish, A, a guy who can skate very well, and B, a guy who I think has high-end upside. Like they have enough guys who top out as 2Cs. I don't think McTavish has 1C upside. Other people might disagree. But I don't like, I'm only willing to trade for a guy who I think has 1C upside because I think they have a bunch of other guys who could have 2C upside. I don't see McTavish as a potential 1C. I just don't think he's that good.
Like, I see where you're coming from. I quibble with the idea of like 2C upside in terms of like 2C on a good team, that sort of center depth. I'm not sure if I'm like positive I see a ton of that in the system right now. He's got 13 goals, 19 assists. He's got 32 points in 61 games this year. He had a career high last year, 22 goals and 30 assists. So it's not like he's been lighting the world on fire. He's got decent scoring numbers for a guy his age. He turned 23 in January. He's in year one of a 6-year deal worth a $7 million average annual value. So not a huge price tag, but you still go like, quite a bit is expected of this guy. He signed that at 22 years old, you know? My counter to your point about maybe he's not that good, maybe he's just not as good of a skater as he needs to be to his center. One, the Flyers need more than one center in my mind. Like, if he's a 2C, like, he doesn't solve the big need, but he is a decent enough player production-wise at a position where I think they still need help. He's still relatively young. And watching the Ducks tonight, like we said earlier, man, Owen Tippett in that Anaheim offense, boy, that could be something. Maybe a McTavish type with his size and playing style. He had 86 PIMs a couple years ago. Maybe he'd just be of better use to Rick Tocchet than Joel Quenneville at this point. Quenneville's been playing him a little at the wing. He's been a scratch lately. Maybe this would be more of a fit.
Yeah, I mean, it probably would be a better fit than Joel Quenneville's offense because, slow guys and guys who play slow aren't really good fits in a Joel Quenneville offense. That's one of the reasons why they were willing to, and obviously there were other factors at play, but that was a big reason why they asked for Ryan Poehling in the Trevor Zegras trade. It was like, hey, I want more speed down the middle. Ryan Poehling isn't a perfect player, but man, he skates fast, and Poehling looked good in this game. He was making plays. He's a really good fit for a Quenneville system in a way that Mason McTavish isn't. My thing, though, is that, like, I don't want to just have slow centers. I want to have fast centers. I want to definitely have faster centers. Ideally, have fast centers. Like, I guess here, and this guy would probably cost more than McTavish, but like, I would much rather pay a bit more for Matty Beniers than Mason McTavish because Matty Beniers can actually skate and fits more of the mold of a guy he's really good defensively. Mason McTavish is awful defensively, has graded out terribly defensively his entire career. I would rather get a fast, good defensive center in Beniers and be like, hey, let me put you with Matvei, Michkov, and Porter Martone and Tyson Forrester and be like, maybe they can pull more offense out of you, as opposed to looking at it as like, well, let's just get Mason McTavish because he's big and slow and all of our centers are big and slow and that fits Tocchet's system. I want to break out of Tocchet's mold rather than add another guy that fits the, like, what we assume is the Rick Tocchet mold.
And with that, it's now time for Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars of the game. Decent number of guys to choose from. Chuck, who was star number 3?
Yeah, we'll be able to run through this pretty quick because these are all guys that we've already talked about. 3rd star of the game, I gave to one Luke Glendening. There was actually a point in this game where I was strongly considering making him my 1st star, but the way things played out, I just didn't think I could justify that. But he was really good, made a ton of plays. Very impressed with Luke Glendening. 3rd star of the game, Luke Glendening.
Who is star number 2?
Star number 2, Dan Vladar, or as Bill likes to call him, Dan Vlastar. Dan Vladar was really good in this game. As I said, I don't think this was, despite the fact that he made a ton of saves and his numbers look good, I don't think this was like one of his best games of the season. I think he's had better games, but I thought he was really good against a team that has a lot of firepower and has a lot of guys who are really good finishers. He stood tall, made that really big save on Cutter Gauthier in the beginning of the game. Overall, really strong performance. Second star of the game, Dan Vladar.
And finally, tonight's first star.
Yeah, I thought Owen Tippett was the best flyer on the ice for the third time in 4 games. He was the best flyer of anybody out there. Obviously has the one goal, gets that by doing what they want him to do. Go to the net, use your size,
Love
get in a high danger area. He's there for when that puck ends up in that area and he pops it in. But even beyond that, I thought he was impactful in all 3 zones. He was using his speed. I love the way you described it as like, yeah, they got into an Anaheim type game and Owen Tippett is built for this type of game or this type of pace. It showed. He was fantastic. He's my first star.
All right, and with that, it's now time to take all your super chats. Let's see what our listeners have to say tonight. Says from Dylan Forrester, someone get Devo some grip tape. Man can't finish.
That is
he
true.
Had a few chances tonight.
Yeah. And that's been an all year problem. His if you look at his expected goal, his individual expected goal totals, they're way below what his actual goal, or they're way above what his actual goal totals are. He's had a lot of chances that he hasn't finished. And now historically in his career, he has underperformed his XG a bit, but if you're looking for some optimism, you could say that this is a guy who has already passed his career high in points, and he's probably underachieved in terms of finishing. Hey, maybe next year, if he doesn't even have to overachieve, if he just finishes on the chances that you hope he can finish, maybe he can take another step forward. Who knows?
He had more than enough time and space to hit that empty netter from where he was on the ice.
He did.
And that icing resulted in the game-tying goal.
Yeah, you're right.
That's a really, really bad miss.
Yeah.
All right. Next one here is from Hattrick Patrick. Ducks equals a-holes. I'll tell you, I'm sitting there, I'm watching the game with my wife tonight, and she's like, it's annoying they wear orange.
It's really annoying.
Baby, you don't want to get me started on the orange.
Yeah.
I got the teal and the eggplant was so good. Yeah. And you were like, we're just going to wear some other team's color now. Like, what?
Yeah,
you're right, Patrick.
It's the fact that they clearly, like, this is like straight up stolen valor. They stole that color. It was the Flyers color, and they stole it, even though it wasn't even one of their primary initial colors.
Brian Burke always wanted to be a bully, so he's like, I'll just take their colors. All right, next one here is, let's see, from David the Goliath. Do you think putting Coots on the wing could keep him fresher for the rest of the season, especially giving him less defensive responsibilities?
Oh, it worked tonight. It worked tonight.
My thing in pregame when we were just talking about it, and I was like, oh, he's playing wing. That's interesting. If you're higher in the defensive zone, as a winger tends to be, there is a chance you can get up the ice faster because you're not coming from like the bottom of the circle. You are coming from the top of the circle or the blue line. So maybe helping him get up the ice could help him create a little more offense. And we see fourth line was pretty good tonight. All right. Next one here is from Turbo Flyers. 23-25 Panthers, Oilers, final 27-29 Flyers, Ducks.
That would be amazing Stanley Cup.
It is going to happen. I don't know when.
All the storylines.
Cutter versus the Flyers, Zegras versus the Ducks. That will happen. I can almost freaking guarantee it. All right. Thank you, Turbo Flyers. All right. Obi-Wan says, I love Nick Seeler. Nick Seeler, man, you know what I love about him is he's willing to shoot. And he rips that one late in the third after the game was tied, and it almost got through. He gets post. Yeah, I think it hit a couple of things, but I do love Nick Seeler.
Well, you got to see a fight because of Nick Seeler. You stayed up late and you got to see your fight, and he pummeled that guy. That was that was like a 10-8 round.
That was like a
10-7 maybe.
That was like a, if you put your head up again, I'm going to keep swinging. So you might not want to do that. But yeah, there was a ton of penalty minutes tonight. Not the kind I was looking for, but at least we did get the one fight. And now I was really trying to get us out of here before Charlie, but I got to trigger overtime. Go to allphly.com as we finish up tonight's show. And thank you to the 300 people who are still tuned into this live Obi-Wan again. What's the Mintyukov beef?
I don't think
don't
there's a
know.
beef. I think they just got annoyed with each other on the ice.
I don't know, but it does lead me to believe that like Michkov's not a popular guy. When it's like one of his countrymen who's like got a problem with him, Mish did pop him. Do you think he should have fought? Do you think Michkov should have dropped the gloves? Like he just punched the guy, and the dude's like, "Let's fight," and he skates away.
I think it was the smart move because he had like you mentioned it. I posted about it on social media. Michkov was going to be the only one who got a penalty because it was a stupid move to pop him in the mouth. So Michkov is a smart player, and he probably realized like, oh God, that was stupid. And then as soon as he saw Mintyukov drop the gloves, he's like, thank God. Okay, I'm not going to get in trouble. I'm not going to get yelled at if I just skate away, and then he's going to get a penalty too. I think that's what happened. I understand why Michkov was mad because he's like, this whatever. He's not willing to fight. But from Michkov's perspective, it was the smart play.
I wanted him to do it. Also, Mintyukov has him by quite a few pounds and quite a few inches. I don't like his chances. I think he's tougher than his size, but the dude's just bigger than him. All right. Next one here is Glendening. If we're looking at the league like it's the EA game trade menu, who is a good fit for this team without giving up 5 first-round picks?
Glendening, I'm just going to say this. This is not the question you ask us at 2 a.m.
We're not doing hypothetical trades at 2 a.m.
Not happening.
We do 5 shows a week. We talk all the time about how they can address the center position and everything. We're not doing hypothetical trades at 2 a.m. Thank you for your contribution. Dylan Forster says, Flyers pull a union and lose in sudden death to a homegrown player in the finals. Because Cutter was actually here, would it be more devastating than the Patrick Kane?
Yes.
We felt as if he should have been ours.
Yes, it absolutely would.
We go 22-60 and don't get him.
The Patrick Kane thing, I always, it's infuriating because they lost and because it was a devastating loss. I've never shared that same he should have been ours. Well, he's not. Tough crap, deal with it. The Gauthier thing to me is tougher because they did take him. They did have him, and we don't know why he didn't want to play here. That is why that one is even more infuriating.
But we're 4-0 against them, so if we do play them in a Stanley Cup final, I like our chances. All right, and I believe that is it. That is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers postgame, presented by Bet365. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, make sure you're following us right here on the PHLY Sports YouTube page. Make sure you hit that like button. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers, and follow the podcast wherever you get those. I am Bill Matz. That is Charlie O'Connor. Thank you so much to Brenna, the best in the business. Be excellent to each other.